Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Right, item 8, monthly report from the community boards. We've got 5 minutes per board, but having listened to a wee discussion that we had earlier on before this meeting, we may not be able to do it today, but we will certainly look at giving the boards a little bit more time so that we can have some questions, because sometimes we get right on a roll and everyone's involved in the discussion, and then I've got to say, right, be quiet, go away, and the next one, and that's not particularly fair. So first up is Fendleton Waimari Harewood, and I'd like to welcome Bridget and Jason to come to the table, please.
Kia ora everyone. So first up we want to take you through some of the decisions that we've made under delegations, which are pretty straightforward. So we've been going through quite a few submissions recently, some really big ones as well, but two in particular that we've just had approved is the Urban Forest Plan and the Draft Waste Minimisation Bylaw. There's been a number of public transport infrastructure improvements, road safety improvements, approving application for the Youth Development Fund, and a few of our community board members were also approved for being on different organisations for representing those organisations. Moving on to our community board plan.
Like all of the boards, we've been busy working on the draft of our 2023-25 community board plan. I'm sure you'll all agree that it's a really difficult job to balance all of the many great projects and wishes of the community with what we can realistically achieve, particularly given council's finances and desire to keep rates increases to a minimum. We were really pleased to receive 46 submissions on our draft priorities with an overwhelming majority in support of what we are proposing. We're looking forward to working through the submissions with the board next week to finalise our plan.
Yeah, so next up we want to take you through the Edible Garden Awards. So our board held their first Edible Garden Awards this year. This is a great partnership with the Canterbury Horticultural Society, and really good feedback was received from the award recipients. If I got that word right, I always struggle with that word, recipients. Yeah, my board understood. Yeah. So 12 awards were given out at the function at Mona Vale on the 17th March. As part of the event, council staff were on site to take attendees on a tour of the gardens at Mona Vale, but unfortunately the skies opened up, and just as we were about to start, it absolutely poured down. This resulted in us having extra time at the function, which allowed the recipients to each share the story of their gardens. It was particularly interesting hearing from Amy from Orana Park, who talked about their edible garden and the different types of food that they grow for their animals. Another recipient was Ivan Hebard, who is a well-known figure in the Belfast community. Ivan had some great stories and is an avid and very knowledgeable gardener. One of the other recipients realised she lived just a few doors down from Ivan and has agreed to meet up with her and help out with her fruit trees. So it's fantastic to see people connect with each other at events like this. It just highlights how important they are. And the board was originally intending to run the awards every 2 years, but with the feedback that we've received this year, there seems to be a strong desire from the community to run it every year.
Okay, as a result of the representation review, our board has inherited a number of community groups who previously sat within the Innisfis ward, being part of Belfast being one of them. Last week, the board headed out to Belfast to meet with a number of these groups. The first part of the session was at the Belfast Community Network, where we met with some of their staff, along with the principal of Belfast School and members of the Belfast Kaiapoi Rotary Club. The Belfast Community Network has been around since 2001 and provide a range of programs and activities in the community. They also play a key role in coordinating opportunities for collaboration between groups and are leaders of the Northwest Collective. It was really interesting to hear from the Belfast School Principal, Sue Alley, about their development plans, which include opening a second school at a new site in the new Belfast subdivision on Johnswood Ave. This is one of the first examples in New Zealand of one school operating on two different sites. The junior years will remain at the current school by Sheldon Park, with the senior years moving over to the new site. It was also great to hear from the gentleman from the local Rotary Club about the projects they are involved with, which support the Belfast community. They undertake various fundraising activities and provide funding support to local groups and projects. It was also interesting hearing about the connections they've made with the Belfast Rotary Club in Ireland.
So we then headed over to the Belfast Rugby Club rooms and met with representatives from the Belfast Bowls Club, the Belfast Netball Club and the Rugby Club. And these are all very strong clubs with really high membership numbers. It was a good opportunity to hear about some of their issues, particularly in regard to a number of council-owned facilities in the park. It would be fair to say there was certainly a level of frustration expressed by the clubs, and we're keen to work with them, with council staff, to look at addressing some of these issues. The visit also provided a good opportunity to talk to the clubs about the council's annual plan and long-term plan, and emphasise how important it is for groups to engage in the process and let us know their issues and future plans. We're pleased that one of our community board plan priorities is about making some improvements at Sheldon Park, which received 100% support from those who recently submitted on the plan. As a board, we're looking forward to developing ongoing relationships with the groups out at Belfast and working alongside them to support their local community. So that's us with our board report. So thank you for listening.
Thank you for speaking. We've got a little bit of time. Has anyone got any questions? Pauline? Yep.
Just thank you. Really good to hear about the groups at Sheldon Park. Is there a kind of a key theme that they're a bit worried about? Or?
Yeah, so primarily the car park area in there is heavily used by the participants of the park, but also the school for drop off and that, and it's the entranceways are kind of not in a good state. And then also just in terms of the actual grounds itself and how heavily it's utilised, the drainage there is very poor. So if you get rain early in the season, the condition of it gets really bad and you end up with a lot of surface water. So it's a bit of a problem.
So it sounds like quite major stuff really there. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, spot on for timing. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Right, next we have Emma and Simon, please.
Kia ora koutou. Thank you for having us along to today to give you an update on what's been happening in our Waipapa Papanui Inner Central Community Board area. First up, I'll just give you a rundown on what happened at our March meeting. We approved a couple of discretionary response fund applications, which you can see there. The one to the Ron Proctor Environmental Trust is especially exciting. As through Papanui Rotary, they are going to build a loop walkway track in the Papanui bush. Planting was first started in the bush in 2018 with the vision of it becoming a well-used recreation area for the local community, and this pathway will open it up to walkers, especially those using the neighbouring Braintree Wellness Centre and the newly constructed Cancer Society accommodation next door. You have one Part A from us before you today, the new traffic lights on Main North Road for the new Pack and Save access. This should be a straightforward decision, but I would like to just note that our board was especially supportive of the pedestrian safety improvements to the neighbouring Main North QE2 Northcote Road intersection. And then the other decisions we made at the March meeting were minor traffic improvements, as well as the report from the recent Innis by-election.
We had a number of public forum presentations at our most recent meeting, and this may be linked to a shift we've made this year and for this term in our meeting times, moving to a late afternoon slot rather than a weekday morning slot. So it's been great. I really appreciate the engagement we're getting from members of the public. We've heard from Birthright Canterbury, who have recently moved their office into Papanui Ward, giving an update on their organisation, and one of the parents they're supporting spoke to us as well about her experience. We heard from a resident further to a visit that the board made during our site tour at the start of the term, just giving us some further perspective on, I guess, the public engagement to date on the future of Shirley Community Reserve. That's the 10 Shirley Road site. We heard from Phillipstown Community Hub, who were recently supported financially by the board to rebuild their pizza oven, had a report back on that. More on Phillipstown Hub later in this presentation. and also a presentation from a couple of local residents and business owners in relation to parking on Chester Street East. A really good presentation from them, just raising an issue. Some P120 parks have disappeared from outside of property there somewhere in the last 10 years, and they're seeking them back. Gave us a lot of detail on that and the benefits that that would give having some more turnover of parking in that area.
Our board has been working for a few years now on partnering with the community to activate the space at Shirley Community Reserve, which is the site Simon was just talking about of the old Shirley Community Centre. We've funded a number of events at the reserve, with the most recent being the No Mai Fiesta on Friday the 3rd of March. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't the best for the event, but we still had a great turnout of locals who were able to interact with stallholders from local community groups. There was a bunch of games, some kai, and also some really great performances from Shirley Primary School students and others. So thanks to those local residents who organised this event, as well as our local staff for their support, and we look forward to seeing more activation on that site soon.
We're continuing to receive reports back as a board on Summer with Your Neighbours events. There's some photos here from a couple of the more recent ones. We had 51 residents participating in the top photo there, Harris Way, Glen Place, and another 22 people coming together at Cool Spring Way with that sort of seed funding from the board that just helps activate those events.
And we've got a video to show for this next one, which can explain this cool project a lot better than we can.
Christchurch's inner city east and Friday night shared kai has become the place to be. Breaking down barriers with food and conversation.
I'm hoping they like the food because the ladies really worked really hard for this, and they've been spending 2 days and 1 night on this food.
What dishes?
Yeah.
Rice, chicken, lamb, salad, olivier.
Last week it was Eritrean food. This week, Afghani. Next week, food from Iran, followed by food from Nepal.
Well, it's revitalising this community, which has been a pretty desperate community for a while, and then bringing people together so that they're not kind of afraid of each other.
Food always brings people together, isn't it? Yeah. And encourages conversation. You know, people seem to be free to talk when we're eating. Yeah.
I didn't expect so many people to show up, so I'm really like glad and nervous at the same time.
Well cooked. Yeah.
Tasty.
Lovely.
Got people hearing it through word of mouth coming down. So it's just really bringing community together, which is exactly what we want to do, and sharing culture.
You like your coconut tree hair? Yeah? Yeah, I think it's been really great in the way of getting to meet people, new people as well, and especially with the things like doing your own dishes and stuff.
Yes, al fresco dining followed by do your own dishes.
You're collectively cleaning together and stuff, and also trying different meals, and it's an easy topic starter of, oh, did you enjoy that? Have you ever tried that before?
Mate, what did you think about your meal this evening?
Oh, it was so delicious, and it's so nice to have something exciting happen in this side of town as well.
1 chicken, 1 balani, please.
But I was just saying before, this is like a nice communal event where it actually feels like a community has come together.
So that's a partnership between In Common and Mahia Te Aroha and the Stanmore Corner project. So that's very cool.
Thank you, staff, for facilitating the video. Finally, we're back to Phillipstown, just celebrating one more there. Phillipstown Hub, who were the grand prize winners in a national Wise About Waste Workplace Challenge for their efforts in waste minimisation associated with the community market days that are held there. They received a comprehensive prize package, including a prize that, because of the nature of the prize, it couldn't be used in the South Island, so they've re-gifted that to another community group in the North Island. So well done to Phillipstown Hub, and appreciate their generosity in handling that prize as well.
And that's us.
Thank you very much. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right then.
Very quickly, just in terms of the Part A report that we've got, I just wondered if your community board had consulted with any local residents groups or residents associations or if you've had any feedback?
I'm not aware we've had any direct feedback on the decision making now. It was part of the, it was a publicly notified resource consent that has triggered the requirement for those lights. So there was public consultation. Pretty sure it's 2019 when it went through that process.
And there were submissions made as part of that.
And was there the same level of detail like in the plans in terms of the consent?
Well, I guess we're now at the detailed design stage, so it'll be a high level of detail in terms of what's being implemented now. But what's before you is exactly what was in the resource consent decision.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, we have Marie. Who else?
Kia ora, everybody.
See you again.
I pass on the apologies from our board chair, Helen Broughton. She's away today over the next couple of weeks. Her daughters come from visit from the US and they haven't seen each other for over 4 years because of the COVID restrictions. And so I'm without a chair and also without a governance manager while it's going through a recruitment process. But as you can see, I'm very well, fully supported and well looked after by our staff. If you can introduce yourself.
Everyone
quickly.
pretty much knows me, I think. Name McClintock. Yeah.
Right. Right. So the board has been very busy with this period of the board plan consultation. We had about 86 submissions, and then we've also been busy preparing submissions for the waste management and waste minimization bylaw, the urban forest plan, and the draft annual plan. And then the decisions we've made under delegation. There's the retrospective electricity easement to Orion, which provides the power source for the new net cell facility at Ngapunawai. And we also have that approved the Night Stream School area improvements, which is mainly traffic calming on the approaches to the roundabout at the Richmond Avenue and that roundabout there with the Wincops and Caulfield Avenue intersection. And a few of them Youth Development Fund applications are approved and 2 off-the-ground fund applications. We've got a Part A report being considered at this meeting. The board is largely supportive of this. We've also now have the approved discretionary response fund allocations to Holswell United Association Football Club and the Westland Kindergarten Association, Kids First. A few events that we've had, it's good to, fantastic to know that the Men's Shed, Rickerton Park Men's Shed has secured a new location at the Rickerton Park. So please come to this if you are able to. Special event, open event was held on March 2nd. Opening hours are Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 to 4 p.m. We've also had Hello Hornby, which was held on March 11th at Waikola Park. It was a very great turnout and community participation, and was organized and hosted by the Hello Hornby Community Committee and supported by local businesses and the council. And before we have a video for you. Before we go into that, the Hurutini Student Council is comprised of students from the Aidenfield Christian School, Holswell School, Oakland School, Wigram Primary School. Now they have been focusing on improvements to road safety around their schools, and they have also crafted a call to action for parents and drivers, which is drive safely for our safety. Now the road safety video has been shared around the community at the beginning of the school year and will continue to be shared throughout the year. And we have the video, please.
Something that makes me feel unsafe is that some parents speed around our crossings or don't look to see who's crossing.
Right-hand signs when they're not meant to be. When drivers sometimes start driving away while students maybe have not shut the door or haven't put their seatbelt on.
Stopping in the middle of the road.
Speeding and letting their kids on the outside door of a road rather than the inside.
Yeah, I think there are lots of crazy things that happen at school drop-off and pick-up time. Parents at a rush and maybe making decisions with their cars that they shouldn't.
We often have a lot of students who bike and scooter to and from school, so there's a lot going on around that time of day, and it becomes very, very busy and quite chaotic.
An important mindset that caregivers need to bring when they're coming to schools is to be patient. So a lot of the problems we see are around speeds, which make things unsafe for people, but also unsafe parking behaviours.
As both a parent and a teacher, all we want to do is keep kids safe. Kids don't think the way that adults think. They don't have life experience that we do. Sometimes they don't make great choices. We just need to absolutely go on the side of caution.
It's really important for our parents to understand that we are a busy school, we're a busy community, and being patient and taking your time is important. It's just having that wider picture of our community and thinking about the safety of our students and our whānau.
This message has come from the kids of the Horetini Student Council, and we would like to see road safety change in our community.
Ride safely for our safety.
Thank you. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you very much. That's lovely.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we've got Paul and Jackie, please. Good to see you again.
Right. Kia ora koutou katoa, Mr Mayor and councillors. Before I begin, I'd just like to acknowledge all the Waitai Community Board members for their positive contributions around the table and in the Coastal Burwood and Linwood wards, as well as our excellent community governance team. We're all working together really well. A few highlights from February. Oh, I've got a mouse here. Oh no, it's on the screen. Gee, what is this? So held on the 7th of February and the 19th of February respectively, these local events were attended by the local community. I Love New Brighton held its 12th event, where there was a huge variety of activities as the temperatures soared to over 30 degrees. The highlights included strong kapahaka performance by Rāwhiti School, and Takumi Japanese drumming group, Brighton's unique Natural Magic pirate band. Also extremely popular with crowds, Shirley Boys High band, Midnight Buzz, and 30-cent spin. The highlight for me was watching my youngest son Finton on the Titanic blow-up slide, followed by going down the slide myself. You can see evidence there in the top left-hand corner. And it's important that you don't get your skin caught hard against the slide, as my eldest son found out. So just a warning for next time. And next up is another couple of events. We have firstly an Otakaro Avon River Corridor consultation. The Dellington Residents Association held a drop-in at the Dellington Landing on Saturday the 11th of February to give locals opportunity to talk to council staff about future plans for local red zone, and the council staff were also on hand to show early stage designs for the area and discuss the Avon Park redevelopment consultation that's currently, well, has been open for consultation. The community board will be discussing that at our next meeting. And then we have Pārtiki Place in Bromley, which is a collaboration between Sport Canterbury, Kāinga Ora Fens and the police, held a local play street on Pārtiki Place. Play streets aim to provide a safe environment for children and parents to be active in their neighbourhood and through play and engaging socially with their neighbours. And so there's a good level of support from local neighbours, local residents, and it was held during regular working hours. There's a strong turnout from a range of ages and backgrounds who took part in the activities during a 2-hour closure of the road. Next, organics processing plant. Last time we were here, we talked about this. Probably next time we're here, we'll be talking about it. We would like it to close and then move, and we hope that there will be options available to the council to make some decisions about that. It's very important. It's been almost 14 years, and it is a mess that the council is making that needs to be rectified. And I hope for your support in the annual plan on that. Next, you heard today from residents of Avondale, Tenby Place, and take this opportunity to advocate for stormwater retention basins along the Otakaro catchment. The retention basins have been very successful along the Upawaho catchment, and although it won't affect this particular issue, I just want to take this opportunity to advocate that for the Waitaki Basin project in Bexley, which I believe the Mayor is quite familiar with, and we don't want to see that delayed in the annual plan. Jackie?
Yeah, just having seen so much today about surface water and flooding, I actually live on Richardson Terrace, which is prone to tidal flooding. I'm very fortunate. I live in an elevated section with a driveway that goes up like that. Retention basins have reduced the number of times I'm flooded into my property, and they also make it more tidal. Like 2014 was the worst year for flooding that I experienced in the 28 years that I've been in Richardson Terrace. That water sat across the road and up my driveway for 3 or 4 days at times, and we were trapped within our houses at that time. Now it's 10 metres. Now, if you think 10 metres up an elevated driveway, it's actually 10 metres lower. So that's a lot less water that's actually keeping me trapped within my home, and it is tidal. So I know, okay, heavy rain, I might be flooded in. I look up, what's high tide? Do I need to get my car out to the street? Do I need to go and get milk and bread before that happens? And I can actually plan for it. But definitely, since the retention basins went in further up the line, a lot easier for us along where I am. So support retention basins. Yeah.
And I believe you have a grievance you wish to share with the council about something that happened at Linwood Resource Centre.
I have a grievance I wish to share with the council about something that happened at the Linwood Resource Centre. We were invited to join in the pancake race, and we actually won the pancake race. But Paul did not follow the instructions, and we lost by default. As a consequence of that, I always drive us to council. He does not follow instructions well. So the Tossers Award actually went to the competition, and here we are. Losers, but not tossers. Yeah.
All right, and on that note, I'm happy to take questions, but not about that.
Andre?
I was just interested to get your feedback and thoughts on how the liquor ban in Woolston have been going since I spoke with us.
That's been consulted on, but feedback that we have had from that we've had from local community, and certainly my experience, because as you may know, I live in Woolston, and is that there has been an improvement.
Yeah.
There's been a reduction in the amount of public drinking, and a significant reduction in the amount of rubbish. And so not everybody for various reasons has supported it, but I believe that overall that what I've heard is the consultation is showing support for it.
It does speak to that. Also, there are issues in Woolston that are very much on our radar and that we are concerned about. But in terms of the liquor ban, and having been to visit the businesses and spoken to people on the street, people are saying that the liquor ban has improved in terms of public drunkenness and mess and rubbish. But yeah, there definitely still are issues in the Woolston village, but they're not dissimilar to issues that we have in New Brighton or other areas around the city are experiencing similar things with homelessness and just unsavoury behaviour.
Thank you. We're running out of time. I've got two real quick ones, one from Melanie and one from Yanni.
It's not actually a question. It's just congratulations on giving the $10,000 to the Learn to Swim lessons. I think that's fantastic for the board to do that.
Very well done. Yep. Yanni?
I mean, just quickly, just wondered if you had any reflection on the board's involvement or lack of involvement in the toxic chemical spill into the Apawaho Heathcote River, and just if you had any comments on maybe just
I guess my comment is that I was surprised that there wasn't any process in place for it's something that's caught between the two authorities, ECAN and the council, and have been assured that there is going to be something in place, but a lack of information has been provided. So I would like more information about what has happened. I know that although they haven't identified the substance, I'm aware that there have been issues like in parts of Australia where there's been a rapid reduction in the level of oxygen in the water, and if that's the case, we want to know as well, because that's a risk to the whole ecosystem. So, yeah, would really appreciate more information.
Thanks very much, Paul. And thanks, Jackie. Okay. Right. Wonderful presentation. Thank you
very much.
Okey-doke. G'day, Ruben.
Hello. Good morning. It's good to be back in front of council during a busy period of submissions for community board. We've got annual plan, community board plan, and the destination management plan heading out for either in consultation or heading out for consultation. It's also a really good time, I think, to acknowledge the many engaged communities that we have across Te Pātaka o Rākauhotu, and also to acknowledge our staff who are working really hard with some different balances of numbers and hours currently to serve the board and more importantly to serve our community. I think water's been the theme of this morning. It seemed to crop up in just about everything we've talked about. Generally the right type in the right place seems to be what people are after. This first photo here comes from Wainui on the 22nd of March. And it's just evidence of some of the immediate challenges, but also some of the longer term issues that our communities are facing as a result of sea level rise and climate change. The next image is a little more evidence there of just what that extreme weather event, the damage that it causes. And the next image is, the side of the road. On the side of the road. So I guess the message we're getting really loud and clear is that these residents and communities are asking for the same access to water supply, electricity, communication connectivity and future-proofed infrastructure that residents of Christchurch City enjoy or want to be able to enjoy. You'd also have to have been hiding under a rock, I think, to miss, no visual pun intended, to miss Sail GP. I've got a short video I want to share that celebrates the strong mana whenua partnership with Ngāti Wheke and Rapaki. Should hopefully play. Here we go, stand by.
From the beginning, waka and water have brought people together. From the heavens, from distant lands, from around Aotearoa, New Zealand, our ancestor, Te Raki Whakaputa, claimed whakaraupo for his descendants. Now we, Te Hapu o Ngāti Wheke, are its guardians for ours. The ocean sustains us, carries us, and today it unites us. Let's race.
So for those who were lucky enough to get over to Whakaraupo or Littleton for the race days, it was pretty stunning action. And for the 50 million people who got to watch it around the world, it was a pretty incredible showcase of Littleton Harbour, of world-class sailing and of the effect that dolphins can have. But I think more importantly, it's the kaupapa of partnership, collaboration and legacy. That's what our board hears time and time again from our communities. And that's the reason that in our previous term, the board sought a destination management plan for Te Pātaka o Rākauhotu, which is to manage, plan for and protect our environment, our communities and our visitors. So we were really grateful for the financial support from central government to realise that plan, and also to council for the additional $20,000 to enable meaningful community consultation on that destination management plan. And the results really give the power to the board to make a decision on whether to endorse it, and if not, why not, or what changes the board would want to see to that destination management plan, so they can endorse it with confidence that that's carrying out the wishes of the communities across Banks Peninsula. And that'll be coming to our meeting on the 17th of April in Akaroa. That is, there's some nice pictures there just to woo everybody across to Te Pātaka o Rākau Hotu, but also a little bit of time there if anyone's got any questions.
Yep, just before you are. You did right with the sale GP. Rapaki really pulled out all the stops. I talked to Carl Budge and Russell Coots. Carl said that he's been doing ASB Classic in Auckland for 9 years and has never had a welcome like that. They were totally blown away. So I take my hats off to everyone that was involved, but also the quality of the videos that we're having from all the community boards, I think is outstanding. So Tyrone.
Kia ora. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, Reuben. You mentioned the destination management plan, and I guess it's really, really important that the community voice is heard throughout in that for lots of different reasons, a lot of the reasons that have been touched on this morning. Do you think there's been enough community consultation around the DMP, the Destination Management Plan?
I think there's been some good consultation so far, but I certainly know that the request that I'm getting a lot of from the community via email and phone call and messengers late at night is they would like more, and also there's some quite specific ideas about what that consultation should look like to reach communities that are a little more remote, a little more isolated, but also to reach people who are increasingly busy and especially given where we're at with our current tourism season, not necessarily hanging out on Facebook to answer surveys, but if you catch them outside the supermarket or ducking into the library, they're more likely to get involved in providing a response.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Reuben. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Lucky last, Callum. And Kia.
Thanks. You were feeling a bit ashamed that we haven't got a nice slick video for you, but
I'm sure there's one in the making.
Dance for one of our items. So cool. Oh, thanks for welcoming us here today. Ngamihi kia koutou. So we'll kick right into it. So our board's been having a lot of consultation, obviously, on the annual plan, and one thing that we wanted to sort of talk a bit about was the properties for disposal. Our board area has quite a few properties for disposal because of a lot of red zone land in the hills and things like that. So we just want to sort of say that we think it's really great that the staff have put extra special focus on this coming down to the board to really sort of step us through it. We see some extra opportunities maybe for future annual plans. And particularly, we think, in particular, if the community board can see earlier in the cycle what properties are up for disposal would be helpful in terms of seeing if there's any opportunities to address community needs with council land. We sort of feel like we don't really have heaps of time between now and the end of the submissions process to do that, but that's an opportunity for improvement. But we also do think it's really important that that any land that is going up for disposal is assessed for its existing or potential future canopy cover sort of provision, if it can support the urban forest plan at all. We've certainly found a few parcels of land that we think could fit the bill for that as part of our process. Kia, do you want to talk a bit about?
Truly the most exciting part of the board report. So this is we recently considered two reports about essentially road stopping, which is where a private landowner seeks to purchase the berm from the council that is in front of their property. We ended up declining one of those applications because we felt that the existing tree on that berm was offering some amenity value to the street. This is Humboldt Street in Sydenham, and it was a benefit. One of the things that we noticed was that the policy perhaps was quite focused on the transport and utilities side of things, and maybe didn't consider some of that more green infrastructure and some of the broader strategic concerns the council might have. So we are suggesting that the council might like to have that policy reviewed. I understand that in the meantime, staff have paused processing these applications, and that there are conversations about how that policy could be updated. So there is a more formal report coming to council on that later in the agenda. More exciting and more fun was the community board went down to the Waltham Community Fair, where we hung out and had a really nice time on a lovely summer's day. Waltham is a community that is a real priority for our board, and we discuss it as part of our board priorities, is particularly how we can work with Waltham to manage some of the changes that are coming through with intensification. So it was really great to go down there. We did some engagement where we were talking to the community about what do they love about Waltham and what could be improved. So that was a really lovely day out. And particular thanks to the staff who came down on a Saturday and spent a good chunk of their day helping out. So that was really lovely. The other recent bit of outreach we did was we were down at the Christchurch South Farmers Market last Sunday, just talking to residents about the board plan, the annual plan, and particularly one thing that people were passionate about was South Library. We had residents coming up and talking about the impact that libraries have had on their lives, and some really touching stories actually about the changes that libraries can make, particularly for children.
Well, thanks, Kia. Actually, I mean, on the topic of the South Library, I want to talk a bit about the rebuild and where that's at, and some of our board's concerns and hopes for this project. Obviously, I just want to reiterate that this is a fantastic facility. It's more than just a library. It's a full spectrum service centre. It's one of the most well-used facilities in the city, far beyond just our ward. It's higher book turnover than the Central Library. And it's really well loved by the community, despite being covered in red steel at the moment. It's an incredibly popular and well-loved facility. And the community has been promised by this council a like-for-like replacement rebuild. So that's the high expectations of the community there as well around how this will progress. Bit of context too is that the board has supported the delay of this rebuild for a number of years now, because we saw that it was important to prioritise communities that had higher need, that had no facilities at all, out in Linwood and Hornby. And we stand by that support. But what it does mean is that this project is in a position now, over a decade delayed, that it's being built in a very high inflationary environment. Staff are currently designing the rebuild of this facility to the budget that's allocated in the LTP, which is $22.5 million, which was set in the last LTP. But as early as July last year, councillors received advice, and you can see the detail of this up on the screen there if you've sort of got any questions. But councillors received advice that this number would be insufficient really to deliver that level of service that we're currently delivering to the community. And I guess the rub of this is that our board is gravely concerned that unless councillors opt to adjust the budget to meet inflation, especially now, especially in the design phase, this very sensitive phase where we're setting out the scope of the facility as it would look, at the end of construction, that unless we adjust the budget now to meet the actual needs of this facility, that the scope of this project will be eroded to the point that we actually, potentially could deliver a substandard facility that fails to meet the obligations we have to our community. So yeah, that's kind of what we're here to kind of ask today. And I did want to just leave it there to give plenty of time for discussion with councillors as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's us. Thanks.
Good. Thank you, Jake. We've got time for one. That's it.
Yeah, it'll be a quick one. Hey, look, thanks for that. That's I think your point is really pertinent about making sure that the project is designed for the original scope and that that work's happening now. In terms of getting ahead of our annual plan, I'm just spitballing out loud and in public, which I try not to do. Have you thought? Would you be open to perhaps bringing a Part A to council from the board to seek an endorsement in principle that we would support the higher allocation?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, anything that would be an effective tool for that. Yep, this board would be keen to jump at that.
What we should discuss with ward councillors.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for coming in. Brilliant. So I'd just like to thank all the boards for their presentations. I will now ask for a mover and seconder, and I'm the mover, and Pauline's the seconder, to receive the monthly reports. And you what? No, we didn't have time. But I can't hear. Debate. Oh, okay, far away.
Thanks. I'd like to thank the boards for coming in. It's always really good to see what's happening across the entire city. And I just really want to back the comments that Callum made about South Library. South Library is a hugely valued part of the metropolitan network of libraries. And it has been a really, really long time coming. It's sitting at just on enough code to stay open. And any significant shake could actually see it closed. A year ago, as a council, we signed off on having a rebuild instead of a repair, and we knew that the budget would be around between $25 and $26 million. And we said at that time, we resolved that we recognised that there wasn't enough budget to do that in the long-term plan, and that we would need to put more budget on. While we've got $9 million from the Better Off Fund, that is not enough money. And because the LTP hasn't been done yet and we haven't had a chance to put additional budget on, staff are now designing it to the funding that's currently available, which is the LTP allocation plus Better Off, instead of what councillors were expecting, which was between $25 and $26 million. I think that we need to make sure that the agreed budget that we talked about in the meeting at the time that we said we would work towards is the one that staff are working towards, so that we can give the community a fit-for-purpose library that will meet the needs of the community for decades to come instead of scrimping and saving now. Thank you.
All right, well, yeah, far away.
Yeah, I applaud the staff for doing the design and sticking to the budget they were given. Too often in the past, we haven't done enough of that. And I can almost guarantee there'll be a whole lot of architectural elements that will be added to this library so it wins awards all over the country. That are they really necessary to get a good functional library? Yes, you need all the aspects that the community want, but there will be design elements in there. We'll bring in glass from Italy and all sorts of things like we did on the big library in town, because we do it every single time. And the square meterage rate will probably be equivalent to that of a hospital. And
strip it out of the stadium then, shall we?
Have that. Oh, sorry, what was that from the hectares? Take it out of the what, sorry? Oh, well, should we go to the public and ask them if they want the library out of the couple of minutes?
Moving right along, everybody. Melanie?
Just want to say, sometimes when budgets are increased and we put more into the capital value of something, that can reduce the OPEX costs of a building over decades. That may well give us more than we might be spending at that point in time. So I think people need to look future forward and to build the best facility that we can. Thanks.
Okay, right, we're on a roll. Tim?
Yeah, thank you. Look, it's a real shame that it's got a wee bit flippant. This building is incredibly important, not just to the immediate community, but to the wider community, and was second and used as the main library as it was being rebuilt. So it's actually really important for the entire Christchurch, certainly the south of Christchurch. As it was mentioned before, it's at 32%. One little shake and it has to close. There is no question about that. And it's being held up by red pieces of steel. And to suggest that we're looking at Italian glass and marble floors, etc., it has been an outstanding building, and it was very practical when it was first built. One of the comments that was made when we looked at this and asked for feedback from the community was from an old gentleman who said he doesn't know how we got it, but to sit in a building that's open plan and be able to hear while children are playing and people are talking in the cafe and a community is doing what communities do, he said is absolutely amazing. So that's one of the takeaways I got from when we were looking and talking to our community about building something rather than shaving quality from a building that is needed by a community. So it'd be nice for some around the table to remember the sacrifices that our community made for others as we move forward.
Thank you very much. We've really got everyone. We've got everyone moved up now. Yanni, your turn.
I was just going to move an amendment that we add 25 million to the South Library project budget.
It's not. Now's not the time to do that.
When's the time to do it?
It will be sometime in the LTP, I assume. Yeah. So
Mary.
So, or can
Wait,
like,
shush,
so
shush, shush. Let
I know,
Mary speak.
So I know we're in debate, but with the previous resolution that we've got is that a report's coming back in Q2. So I don't know why we're having this big argument now when the work is underway,
Right,
and we should be getting a report.
I'm going to put the motion. Everyone's head.
So can I just say? So hang on. So like I appreciate that people have different views around what we should do with this particular building, but the reality is we've already made a decision as a council. We've got work underway to come back to us with, to quote, the development of a concept design and costing for consideration by council by Q2 2023 to allow time for public inclusion in the design process. So the work is already underway. You know, there's been different facilities that we've built that we've had. Some have had cost blowouts, and we've put additional money on to improve the scope and make things better. There's been other things that we've value engineered and not done the things that people have wanted because we didn't have the budget for it. And we need to try and find a balance, obviously, with the things that are happening. And we've just heard around the Cairns Bay water supply this morning.
Okay, I'll go back to it. We're receiving the monthly report from the community boards. We're not discussing this all over the village. That will be a report on the South Library coming to us soon.
Can we just have a note in the minutes that records that work is underway and happening?
Yep. All right, so I'm now going to put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Thank you, carried. Woo. Right.